3.
Right. So today we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic, oogenesis. Actually, oogenesis belongs to the category that is known as gametogenesis. Gametogenesis. The students who are studying the reproductive biology as well as the developmental biology, the both topics are studied in both of the subjects. First of all, we should see gametogenesis. What is gametogenesis? Gametogenesis is simply the term in which gameto represent the gametes and genesis means synthesis. So the gametogenesis means synthesis of the gametes. Gametes are the germ-like cells that are the haploid cells. First of all, there is a term that is haploid and that is diploid. First of all, actually this lecture is not coverage for all of the topics. Oogenesis is a just teaser lecture in which we will basically discuss the phenomenon of the gametogenesis and basic difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis, and then a very important term, diploid versus haploid. Now, what I say, gametes, these are the germ cells. Gametes are the haploid cells. Gametes are the haploid cells. What is meant by haploid cells and diploid? Actually, this term is referred as the ploidy. We say ploidy is the basic set of chromosomes, basic set of number of chromosomes. Meanwhile, if this is a cell, and if I say, and this basic cell has the two sets of chromosomes. Two sets mean one set is coming from the one parent and one set coming from the another parent. So this is the diploid. Whatever the number of the set, I am not going in detail of that. So this is diploid. If I say this is the cell that has only one set of chromosomes, so this is the monoploid, and so forth, triploid and pentaploid and hexaploid. But what does it mean by the haploid? Haploid is not related to the ploidy. Ploidy is the basic set of the chromosomes that the cell inherited from the parents. But as far as the haploid is concerned, this is very simple to understand. Haploid term is you can say apply on the only germline cells, and the ploidy terms you will apply on the somatic cells. This is important. So whenever we talk about the haploid cells, it is mean that we are talking about the germline cells, and in which we simply, if the cell has whatever the specific number of chromosomes, we just simply half the chromosome. We just simply half the number of the chromosome. Like just suppose if this is a cell and we say this is the 100 chromosome, this has 100 chromosomes. So what is the haploid number? If this is a germline cell and having the 100 chromosomes, the simple haploid is 50. So haploid is the basically exact sharp half of the basic number of chromosomes. So germline cells are the haploid. Germline cells are the haploid. One more thing. Before the germ cells, actually you should know you are starting your life from the zygote, and then zygote converted to the 2-cell stage, and then 4-cell stage, and then 8 and 16 and mulberry type structures form, which is known as morula, and then there is the blastula formation in which the cyst is formed. So we can say the blastocyst, and then this is the blastocyst which has to be implantation endometrium. Now at the later stage you will see there is the embryo formation. Now just look, this is the embryo, this is the cephalic end, and this is the caudal end, or we say the posterior and the anterior, and along it there is the yolk sac, and this is the amniotic sac. This is the amniotic sac, and this is the yolk sac. In the early embryonical stages, they actually at the gastrula stage, you know, there is an ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm, and these are formed with the 3 layers: ectoderm, mesoderm, and endoderm. And these 3 layers are presumptive to make the another different organs of the organism. But germline cells, primordial germ cell, the term that is I have to use, that is primordial germ cells. Now what does that mean by the primordial germ cells? Primordial germ cells, remember, these are the early primitive bipotential cells. Bipotential pluripotent cells. They are not the stem cells, they are the pluripotent cells. So primordial germ cells, as far as the primordial germ cells are concerned, why we call it bipotential? Actually, these are the cells, these are the group of cells. If we put these cells into the ovaries, they will develop into the eggs, and if we put these cells into the testes, they will develop into the sperms. So these are the bipotential. Actually, this is the environment. This is the anatomical barriers and anatomical positions and the environment in which these cells are found, and those influence will convert primordial germ cells into, ultimately, if there is a oogenesis, it will convert into the egg cell, and if there is a spermatogenesis, they will convert into the sperms. So up to now, primordial germ cells, we understand what is the primordial germ cells. Primordial germ cells are the primitive, very early mother cells, pluripotent. They are no stem cells. If we talk about the stem cells, or they can be they can be the stem cell but pluripotent nature, not totipotent. Zygote is a totipotent. Actually, from the zygote you will make the whole organism. But from these cells you cannot make the whole organisms. Ultimately, you can make the one cell lineage full of the cell typical types. And then now, if we understand the primordial germ cell, now we have to see where the primordial germ cells early appear in the developing organism or developing embryo. So this is not developing in the amniotic sac or the elsewhere in the embryonic region. It is appeared in the yolk sac around 4th week of the gestation. Around 4th week of gestation, they appear in the yolk sac, and then from there they will transfer from the hindgut to the dorsal mesenterium to the gonadal germinal ridges. They are found, and then there is the gonads. So around the 4th to 7th week, they are just migrating. So first of all, if someone asks you what is the first step in the gametogenesis, this is the gametogenesis. So don't tell in panic that in the gametogenesis or oogenesis, the first step that the primordial germ cells convert into the primary oocytes and the primary spermatocytes. This is wrong. The first step in the gametogenesis, that there is the transformation. There is the you can say the migration. There is the first step is migration of primordial germ cells from yolk sac to the gonads. This is the first step. Actually, what happens? These cells during the migration might be they will deposit it somewhere else that is not supposed to their place. Like just this cell has to go to the gonads. Like you are supposed to go to your home after your institutions. But some of these cells might be possible they will deposit it into somewhere else than gonads. So this is the abnormality and pathological condition, and teratomas will be found, and we will see later what are these conditions. So migration is important. Now, generally, what do they in migration? They do increase in their size, and then they also actually proliferate and increase in their number as well as in their size. It means they do the mitosis. So after the mitosis, they will convert into their primary cells. That is known as the spermatogenesis in the case of primary spermatocytes and case of primary oocytes. But there is a little bit difference between the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Now then, basic differences I will only tell. Oogenesis starts in females before birth, prenatal life. But the spermatogenesis starts at the puberty age. Spermatogenesis starts at the puberty age. This is the basic difference. Once more thing, once the spermatogenesis is started, all of the cells have not converted into the primary cells. But in this case, oogenesis, when one of the primordial cells have to be started mitosis or meiotic, they will convert into the primary oocytes. And then after the birth, female has no any primordial cells or the germ cells, the stem cells. So that's when the life cycle is limited as compared to the males. So up to now, what we have learned, we have nothing special learned. Actually, I just put the stress on the haploid terminology and the migration of the germ cells. Once these terms are clear, then we will separately discuss the spermatogenesis and oogenesis. But don't confuse that both are the same. In diagram, they might be look same, but in the physiological or anatomical events, they are very different. So in the next lecture, inshallah, we will discuss all of these terminologies because my cameraman is very fussy and very frustrated by being recording this lecture. So inshallah, we will discuss it next time. Thank you.